Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. Okay, I'm gonna get started right now. And tonight's live stream is the topic is going to be abusive and violent women and why girls need fathers. Now, this topic was requested by one of my viewers on Facebook, and he wanted me to make a video regarding this subject of abusive and violent women. And we've seen a uptick in these abusive and violent women on numerous videos on social media. These women who are out here having these fights in fast food restaurants, these women who are out here having these brawls in the streets, these women who are out here having all of these this uptick in domestic violence cases where women are assaulting men. And many people look at all of these abusive, aggressive, and violent women and they see them as some new trend. But what they're not really taking a critical examination of is why these women are so abusive, violent, and aggressive. And I was understanding where the problem lies with most of these women and what's leading to them becoming these abusive, violent, and aggressive women. What's making them abusive, violent, and aggressive has to do with the issues that they have had growing up. And it's these issues that have them going out here and participating in this abusive, violent, and aggressive behavior. Now, the main reason why so many of these women are so violent and aggressive has to do primarily with the way these women are raised. Just like we have a man crisis here in America and the West due to the way we have been raising children, we have a woman crisis going on as well. And because we are raising women in a dysfunctional manner and raising girls in a dysfunctional manner, what's happening is these girls are not getting their emotional needs met by their fathers because most of these girls these days, they're growing up in these single mother households. And because they're growing up in these single mother households, what is happening is this is really doing severe damage to them and their development when they are brought up in these environments. Now, when you have a boy who is brought up in a single mother household, oftentimes he becomes effeminized, and when you raise a girl in a single mother home, what happens is she becomes masculinized in some ways. And in that single mother household, most of these little girls, what happens is the reason why they become masculinized is because there is no male figure in that home to model an example of manhood for them. And there's no man in that home to model how a girl is supposed to be treated by a man, or how they are supposed to be treated overall in society. And because these girls see this single mother in the household being this very aggressive, very hostile, very overbearing, domineering, and controlling person as their model for womanhood, they believe that this behavior is the social norm for them. And this is reinforced by the way they are treated in that home, because in most cases, many of those women who are running those homes, they have major issues as related to their security. Now, according to God's natural order, he created the woman to be a helpmeet and a support to a man, and he designed the woman to serve the man. Unfortunately, over the last 50 years, as we have had feminism redefine the roles of men and women, and feminists tell us that the woman can be placed in the leadership role that the man has been established by God to be in. We've had a lot of these women thinking that they could take this leadership role. And what has happened is this has had a direct impact on the way our girls are being raised, and the way our girls are being raised, because there is no husband in the home to provide for the wife's emotional needs. What happens is the woman who is running the home is not secure, and that insecurity comes from her not getting her emotional needs met. And because she is emotionally insecure, this is one of the things that fuels her anger, because that emotional insecurity and not being able to feel loved, not being able to feel secure in getting her needs met by a man, and that feeling of security that a man naturally provides to a woman by being that head of household. When a woman does not get those emotional needs met by a man, what happens is that woman becomes extremely emotionally insecure. And because she is emotionally insecure, what happens is she starts trying to overcompensate. And when she starts trying to overcompensate, she starts, instead of seeing her role as a wife and a mother and looking to participate in that role that God provided for her, what she wants to do is become a competitor. And the person she starts competing with is her own daughter. Now, when it comes down to many of these girls who grow up in single mother households, they cannot get their emotional needs met by their fathers, because the father isn't there most of the time. And the mother does not want to be able to meet the girl's emotional needs because she is in competition with the daughter. So in a single mother household, your daughters are primarily seen as enemies and adversaries by these insecure single mothers and divorced mothers. And because these single mothers see the daughter as direct competition to them, they see the daughter as an enemy. And instead of them looking to love, nurture, and care for their daughters, they oftentimes look to sabotage their daughters. They look to destroy their daughters, and they take pride in seeing their daughters being brought low, because these women, they're insecure on the inside about them getting their emotional needs met. And because they're insecure about getting their emotional needs met, they wind up looking to destroy their daughters so they can't get their emotional needs met. And in a lot of cases, they want to hurt the daughter in the same way they want to hurt that very man who was the father of that daughter. So a lot of times when you see these violent and aggressive and hostile women, the foundation for all of their issues primarily comes from their feelings of insecurity, their feelings of inadequacy, and this feeling that there won't be anyone to meet their needs. And the needs that they want to be met are the ones that men naturally meet when they are a part of God's natural order. Because when you have a husband who is there for you, this husband, what he does is he provides not only for the economic needs of the woman, but he provides for the emotional needs of the woman. And because he provides for the emotional needs of the woman, what happens is he makes that woman feel secure. And he makes that woman feel secure because that woman knows that while this man is in her life, he is going to be able to provide a home for her. He is going to be able to provide for her clothes and her food. And he also is going to be able to provide love to that woman. And the big thing here is women are primarily emotional. And because they are emotional, they are looking to get their emotional needs met by a man. This is why emotional security is very important for a relationship, because when a woman feels emotionally secure, then she feels comfortable about going into her role as a helpmeet and a support, and she feels comfortable about submitting to the authority of a man. So when you have a woman who is emotionally secure, this is something that is very good for a woman. Unfortunately, over the last 50 years, thanks to these feminists, what has happened is many women, they don't feel emotionally secure. And because they do not feel emotionally secure, this is one of the things that leads to them going out here and participating in these behaviors. Now, Nightingale Wednesday Nightmare, glad to see you here. Supremo, glad to see you here. Yak Diesel, glad to see you here. Adam, Gordon Freeman, glad to see you here. I'm going to take a minute to answer Yak Diesel's question. Would I call male pro-black hoteps betas? Yeah, I would call them beta males because they are looking to submit to female authority, and they make statements like the black woman is God. And that's a position of weakness because God did not make the man to submit to a female God. He made the man to be his steward. He made the man to be his head, and he made the man to be his leader and authority figure. So he made the man for those roles, but the hotep, because his frame of reference is a woman, he sees the woman as a god, and he is one side of the coin as related to the dysfunction, as related to these single mother households. Now, when I did, again, before I wrote the book, The Man Crisis, in 2018, before I wrote The Man Crisis, I was writing about a lot of these girls and the issues that they were having. Now, I'm going to leave a link to The Man Crisis on Amazon so you can pick up your own copy. And before I wrote that Man Crisis nonfiction, I had began exploring the issues that a lot of girls were dealing with as related to them not having that father there to provide that emotional security. And way back in 1998, 1999, when I wrote the first ISIS, I explored what happens when there is no father to provide that emotional support for a daughter. And in this story, we see Isis and Esteem and the issues they have when their father, Osiris, isn't there to meet their emotional needs, and how in both cases they have tragedies that lead to them winding up on a road to darkness. And that was one of the first books I wrote regarding girls with these father issues. I also wrote the All About Nikki, the fabulous first season. And in this series, the Nikki Desmond character, the reason why she was acting out and behaving with this racist and surly behavior and this nasty attitude was primarily because her parents had divorced, and her mother had modeled this very rude, surly, nasty behavior because she was not getting her emotional needs met in that marriage, and she was not getting her needs met. And because she wasn't getting her needs met, she got custody of her daughter, and her daughter learned this dysfunctional model. And it's not until she goes to live with her father that she starts working on those issues. And this is something I wanted to make as a commentary between the lines of this television series, how important fathers are in the development and raising of a daughter. Because when you have a daughter who does not have that father actively in her life, what happens is she is not being given that environment where she can get that emotional security. Because when you have a daughter, one of the things a father has to do is give that daughter that emotional security, because that emotional security that that father gives her by just being in the home, just being there for her, and just being there to meet her emotional needs, what that father does is he makes that girl feel confident about herself, and he makes her feel like she is in a safe environment where she can just be herself and be loved for being herself. So when you have a father and he is in the home with his daughters, he is providing for that daughter, he is teaching that daughter, and he is meeting the needs of that daughter by just being in that environment and doing little things like just sitting there talking to his daughter, sitting there teaching his daughter, and sitting there and reading to his daughter, like reading stories to his daughter, going out and taking his daughter out to different places. That father is providing for that girl's security, and she's providing for her perception of not only how she'll be treated by men by his model of manhood, but providing for her security as a woman. So when you have a father in the home, what he's doing is he is laying the foundation for that daughter's self-esteem, and that foundation is something that will help a daughter when she's going through rough periods like puberty. And that was one of the things I explored in the novel Spellbound, where the Matilda Crowley character was going through a dark period where she was dealing with bullies and harassment. And one of the things that helped her as she went into the goth subculture was her relationship with her father. And her relationship with her father was the major thing that led to Matilda finding a way out of the darkness, because she knew that she had emotional security at home. And because she had emotional security at home, this was the thing that gave her the hope to start moving forward. Even though she was in this dark place, she saw, even in the dark side of life, there was light, because there was a father in the home to meet her emotional needs, and that father there to give her that security and that place of safety that most women want. And that's something most girls and women want in their lives, is that feeling of security. And when you have a daughter and she gets that feeling of security at an early age, that feeling of safety, that little girl is going to have the confidence to go out here and be very confident in herself, be very secure in herself. And even though she's having struggles, she knows that there is a place where she is loved. She knows there's a place where people care about her. And she knows that there's a father who is a rock, and he is somebody who will always provide stability for her emotionally. Even if there's not much money going on, there's a father who will be there to let her know that she is loved, she is valued, and that she is someone because God loves her, and God made her, and God made her for a purpose. That's what a God-centered father is going to say to his daughter, and he's going to teach and prepare his daughter to be this helpmeet and support, and he's going to show a model of manhood that makes that girl feel secure in herself. And when she feels secure in herself, she's not going to be this violent and aggressive woman who's out here looking to hurt other people. She's going to be a woman who is going to look to share love and help other people. Now, these violent and aggressive women that you see on these social media platforms played in these videos where they're having these fights in these fast food restaurants, where you see them having these fights and brawls in the street where they're snatching weave out of their head, or they're busting up car windows, or they're doing all sorts of crazy stuff like keying cars and going crazy. The reason why these girls are this way is because they are insecure. And that insecurity, again, comes from that lack of a father there to provide that emotional security. And because that father isn't there to provide for that emotional security, these girls get scared and their mothers get scared. And because they're afraid of getting their needs met, instead of them working together, the mother sees the daughter as an enemy, and she sees the daughter as somebody she needs to compete with. And because the mother sees the daughter as somebody she needs to compete with, she sees the daughter as somebody who has no value to her. That's why in these single mother households, you see all of this aggression, because the mother is overcompensating, because she believes that she has to not only compete in the world for a job and to make money, she also has to compete with this younger daughter, because she feels the time catching up with her, because a lot of times these women are in their late 30s, early 40s, and they see this younger daughter, and that makes them uncomfortable about themselves, and it makes them really insecure, because they know they cannot trade on their looks, and they can't keep seeking attention from men with the way they used to when they were younger. And because they feel like they cannot compete with these younger girls, they oftentimes look to destroy their daughters and try to sabotage them, because they oftentimes are jealous of their daughters and they don't really want to see their daughters come up and surpass them. And that's one of the things that has a lot of these women violent and aggressive. And a lot of the younger girls become very violent and aggressive because they're competing in that home. And a lot of times the mother has them competing because she, again, is so insecure about losing her place in society, and especially when the wall is about to approach them, that she fears that she'll lose everything. So a lot of times these mothers, they're terrified about not being able to get their needs met. So they wind up becoming very aggressive and very hostile towards their daughters. And a lot of times these women, they will abuse their daughters. So oftentimes in a single mother household, you will have the mother being a very angry woman and very angry towards her daughters because of this jealousy. She'll be very aggressive towards her daughters and very hard on her daughters. Meanwhile, this same woman will go out of her way to coddle her sons and make them into the soft beta males, but she will be aggressively hard on the daughters, always screaming at them, yelling at them, bringing all sorts of drama to them. And that drama makes those girls very anxious. It makes them very nervous. And because they don't feel any sort of love, what happens is these girls wind up becoming even more aggressive and violent, because all they see modeled for them by their mothers is aggression and violence. So they think that aggression and violence is the norm for a girl to deal with. So they're not used to the environment that is under God's natural order, where the father nurtures the daughter, because usually in a two-parent household that's healthy, the father nurtures the daughter. And because the father nurtures the daughter and lets her feel secure about being loved, she has that feeling of safety. So when the mother provides her discipline and teaches her life skills, she knows that this is all being done for love. But in a home with a single mother, there is no real love there. It's just a lot of competition and there's no nurturing. And because there's no nurturing, this is why the girl becomes so aggressive. Now, what compounds that aggression and competition is the fact that, again, the mothers are insecure about their age. And because they're insecure about their age and the fact that they have not married a husband and they don't have a husband out here, what happens is they wind up going out here and again looking with the perception of competing with the daughter. So a lot of times, because these women don't have a husband that meets their emotional needs, what happens is they start having these boyfriends or this man. And because this man is in the house and he does not have a defined role under God's natural order, what happens is this man is just there to just get his sexual pleasure from the woman and not be somebody there who's going to be in the role of a husband or a father. And because this man is in an undefined role, the insecure woman looking at her daughter sees her daughter as an enemy, especially when this so-called man or boyfriend is out here and in the presence of her daughter. Now, a man who is a father, he understands that his daughter is a child, and he should not see his daughter as somebody sexual. Unfortunately, this man, he does not see the daughter as somebody who is younger and is off limits. He has no sense of boundaries. And because he has, no sense of boundaries, what happens is this is what leads to a lot of these mothers becoming very insecure about having this man in the home. And because these women, they are insecure, they start competing with their daughter, thinking that she wants that attention from that man, but that man should not even be looking at that daughter. That man is a sick, perverted sexual deviant. And what's really sad in a lot of homes where you have these single mothers is you have this mother attacking the daughter while this perverted, sexually deviant beta male is in here abusing this child, because this child has no understanding of what's going on. And again, this abuse that this girl goes through, this trauma that this girl goes through in this home, along with the emotional abuse she gets with her mother, these are the foundations for all of this anger you see out here, all of this rage that this girl has, and why she is so wild in so many cases. The reason why these girls are so wild and out of control is because they feel powerless to deal with the aggression they receive from their mothers and from these boyfriends or these men that are in and out of this woman's life. And because they feel powerless to deal with this situation and they feel worthless in that home because they don't feel loved, this is the core reason why so many of these girls are aggressive and violent and so out of control, because there is no structure in that home to show them how to live and behave in an orderly fashion. And because your girls are primarily emotional, they usually act on their impulses. And the reason why they're acting on their impulses is because thank you, Ronald K. Armstrong, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to donate to the super chat, you can do so as well. And if you want to donate to the Cash App, you can donate to the Cash App as well. So when you see this girl and she's acting out of control, there's a reason why she's acting out of control. Now, a lot of guys out here, they will talk about, you know, these ratchet women and how they're so crazy and how they're so out of control. But that's because this girl never learned any sort of discipline. She never learned any sort of structure. And most importantly, she was never given that sense of security. And because she wasn't given that sense of security, this is why she's wilding out. Now, she's also wilding out because when she wilds out, she believes that this is the effective way to get her needs met. And the reason why she wilds out like that is because she's getting the attention that she thinks that this is the only way that she can get attention. So most of your girls out here, they wild out and they act crazy because they know that somebody is going to come to them, somebody is going to meet their needs, and they have not really been taught how to communicate effectively. And because there's no father there to teach them how to problem solve, how to think critically, or how there's cause and effect, what happens is the girl winds up going on these screaming and yelling rampages, running around here. And because there's a manager there to reward them with attention in a fast food restaurant by giving them what they want, or there are some beta males who see her and want to give her what she wants, she believes that this is the effective way to get her needs met. She does not understand how to get her needs met through effective communication because she has not seen effective communication modeled for her. So she believes that if she goes out here and screams and yells and throws these tantrums, oh, people are paying attention to me. And because I'm getting what I want, this is how I'm supposed to behave. But this is not how you're supposed to behave. And each time you go out here and you reward an aggressive or a violent woman with attention, you make it where she wants to go and do this again. So a lot of times we have these aggressive and violent women because they receive these rewards for their out of control and out of pocket behavior. They don't ever have to deal with any sort of consequences or deal with any sort of discipline because we have the mother who is just so filled with insecurity that she's become filled with anger and she's hating her daughter. And then we have the father who isn't there to provide that structure. And because he's not there to provide that structure, we have a daughter who just does not know how to navigate the world and get her needs met. And because your girls oftentimes are looking for attention, what happens is the girl thinks that because she's getting this positive reward for acting out, this is how I'm supposed to get my needs met. And that's one of the big problems with your aggressive and violent woman is she keeps getting rewards for her bad behavior. And she's got a whole host of enablers who continue to reward her for her out of pocket, out of control, erratic and crazy behavior. Because she's getting these rewards for her behavior, she thinks that this is an incentive to continue participating in this behavior. Now, the only way to stop this type of behavior is to stop paying attention to it. Unfortunately, many in our society, we don't understand that you have to stop rewarding women with attention for bad behavior. They're thinking, oh, if we keep looking at her, she'll stop. But no, the way you stop her from acting aggressive, violent, and crazy is by not paying her any attention. And in some cases, you have to go out here and cut off all contact from that woman because attention is what primarily drives her to continue participating in this behavior. And when she sees that this is getting her what she wants, what happens is she then decides to escalate because, again, another part of girls is drama. And when they see that one thing got them attention, they look to escalate that behavior. And because they're looking to escalate that behavior, this is why you have your women going out here and escalating their behavior into further acts of violence. And that's why you'll see a girl who, when she believes that she is slighted, wants to go out here and key a guy's car, or go out here and put a rock through a guy's car window, or put a rock through his house window. She'll do these things because she believes that this is going to get her attention. And she also believes that this is going to sate her feelings. She is not someone who understands anything about conflict resolution or problem solving or critical thinking. And because she does not understand these concepts, because they're not taught to her, this is why she's out here participating in these aggressive behaviors. So you have these girls, they're participating in these temper tantrums, and primarily because, again, you have these enablers going on. First, you have a lot of these beta males out here who are looking to placate these girls. And then you have these mothers who, again, they model this raging behavior, because a lot of them, they don't, when they see a daughter and she's done something wrong, they don't just, deal with it as a man would by just saying, okay, I'm going to deal with this by providing proper discipline. They go into rage mode. And again, this is the behavior your daughter is seeing, and she's thinking, okay, if this is how you deal with things when you're out here, you go into this rage mode. And again, the rage mode is what practically has these women very aggressive. And that aggression, again, comes from the foundation of insecurity. And that insecurity is all based in the fear. So the reason why these girls are so aggressive, so angry, and so violent primarily is because they are afraid. And the main reason, again, why they are afraid is because they don't believe there's going to be anyone there to meet their needs. So they are afraid that because someone won't be there, they have to go out and do things for themselves. And a lot of times they don't do for themselves. This is why you'll see them going into these crazy rampages, because they don't know how to solve a problem. They don't know how to deal with conflict, and they don't know how to conflict resolve. And because they don't know how to do these things, they get frustrated, they get angry, and this is what leads to them going into these screaming and yelling tirades, or rushing out here to go out here and attack someone. So they they're running on their feelings because they have this fear, and this fear is the thing that is driving them to act all crazy. They're acting crazy because they're scared, and a lot of times they're scared again because they don't get these emotional needs met, and they don't know how to get their emotional needs met, because a lot of times, the people that when they were younger they were supposed to trust, they could not trust any of those people, like that single mother, like that father who left the home, or like those boyfriends or those men, or like the men that they get involved with when they're growing up in adolescence. So a lot of these girls, they wind up getting involved with people who cannot meet their needs or have made promises to meet their needs, because a lot of these beta males, a lot of these guys, they love to talk about what they want to do for a woman, but because these guys never deliver, because a lot of these guys are whoremongers, smash and dash guys, and hustlers, they wind up doing more emotional damage that is already compounded by the emotional damage that the mother has done, that the man has done with his sexual abuse, and these males have done by making these promises. And all of these people who have not kept all of their promises, all of this stuff has led to the girl becoming more and more insecure. And as she becomes more and more insecure, she doesn't know who to trust, who to believe in. And this is leading to her feeling like she can't trust anyone to do for her. She's feeling like there's nobody there to meet her needs. And because she's frustrated and angry, she wants to go out here and lash out at people because when she lashes out, this is the only way she believes people will listen to her. And that's, again, not how a healthy girl deals with problems. That's not how a healthy girl deals with conflict. That's not how a healthy girl deals with issues in her life. A healthy girl knows that she doesn't have to go out here and participate in a lot of drama to get her problem solved because she trusts in God and she also trusts that the people in her life will work with her towards meeting her needs. And because she has been taught how to communicate effectively with the people in her life, even though she's feeling that fear, she knows that she can approach those people and let them know, hey, I'm having this problem. Hey, I'm having this issue. Hey, I'm struggling with this problem. And because those people love that girl, they're going to sit down and try to work with her towards solving whatever problems she has. So she knows that because people love her and care about her and want to keep her secure, she knows that she's emotionally secure because she knows that she can rely on people in her life to be there. But the aggressive, or somebody didn't talk to me, and this will trigger this rage because this woman does not know how to talk to anyone. She doesn't understand that all you had to do in